Derek Sheridan from Rust Belt Basketball Coaches Network. We are so fortunate this afternoon to have Coach Kevin Broderick, the head men's basketball coach at Nazareth University from the great state of New York. The topic being eliminating turnovers. This is something that Coach Broderick certainly has had a lot of success with in teaching, as his team finished for the second year in a row last season, averaging only 6.7 turnovers per game, which is the fewest number in all of NCAA.
I went to high school in Oswego, New York. We had a Catholic school, Bishop Cunningham. We had 25 kids in our graduating class, but yet, and we won a state championship. And 5 of my teammates played college basketball at a school that small. I had heard of Nazareth. Nazareth in New York at the time was one of, perennial NCAA team. They had just been to an Elite Eight, and I was aware of them. I didn't know their personnel, so I lived in Oswego, and Nazareth was playing Oswego, and I go to a game, and it's Oswego versus Nazareth, and the point guard for Nazareth was Jeff Van Gundy, and I remember as a young player sitting there saying, "Wow, that is the way basketball should be played." But I also had a chance to work for Bill Van Gundy, who was Jeff's father, and John Beeline for 3 years. And, Bill Van Gundy, I think sometimes, you see at the Division I, you see at the NBA level where there's coaching staffs that are 15 people. I'm so grateful that my experience when I worked for Bill Van Gundy, it was me and Coach Van Gundy. I had a chance to work for John Beeline. I remember I was a 25-year-old, had just gotten out of college and done a year of coaching 8th grade and a year of coaching Division III, and had a chance to be, one of the 2 assistants for Coach Beeline at Lemoyne at the time, which is, a part-time assistant, but yet we were spending pretty much all day. And I remember thinking, I know Coach Beeline, the rest of the world doesn't know him yet, but there's no way there's many people that can do this better than him. And it was just so impressive. And I think especially for beginning coaches, I remember my first recruiting trip with Coach Beeline. I had been hired about a month before, and we said, okay, we're driving to Buffalo. We got to see this kid play. And, we drove, we're recruiting the whole way there. We're talking about basically X's and O's, what my role was going to be, how I could help the team, and then watch a kid play, watch a bunch of other kids play, sit down for lunch. And, after 5 or 6 hours doing that, we go to lunch and we sit down, and immediately 5 seconds after we sit down, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a bunch of change and throws it on the table. And he's moving the quarters and nickels around to show the plays. And there was just never any downtime with Coach. The mind was going, and it was so inspiring when you worked for him. The philosophy thing. And again, I've talked about, and I remember hearing him say that, and then he paused and he said, but it helps us win 4 minutes a day. So, all right. So again, we can do this in 4 minutes a day, and it's usually break the team into 3. So there's a team waiting at the other end, but it's 4 on 4 on 4, and we're not going to bounce the ball. All the, being strong with the ball, playing through contact, best offensive stance. The guy's on his hip, but he's beating the guy to the paint. Not what we want on defense, but he's going to beat him there. But I just know he can't get that right foot planted and make a balanced attack the backboard layup, right? So this